Hello and welcome. This is Random Workings, and welcome to our 30 minutes to do miniature painting series. I haven't actually turned this on, have I? That's the 30-minute time it started. I'm continuing on with the Sequitors. Putting gold on them. Or attempting to put gold on them. Then I'll be moving on to putting a bit of silver on them, specifically in this sort of area, I think. I'll decide once I'm finished. I've got two models that I still need to put the majority of the gold on. This is like half done. Let's just change the camera focus so that you can see the models slightly better. I've already disabled autofocus, so so you shouldn't have that problem. I kind of wish I could do this with a button, but I cannot. Right. That should make me less focused and put them more into focus. Nope. $70. Okay. So you can see, this isn't the one I've started already. This one has gold in places, and then others it's not been painted gold. My fingernails. 5 seconds. That's slightly better now. Yes, so as you can see, I've got a bit more gold to do on this one. Let's get on with that. It's thingy little, so let's mix it up again. It's the only problem with letting paint sit, because I'm not doing this in quick succession. Sometimes the paint, so the paint, you can see the paint that's mixed is the middle, and then it's gone like a much darker brown. This is probably not the right brush to be mixing it up with. I've got my palette, what I'm calling my palette brush, which is specifically for putting paint onto. Palette, which I should be using this for rather than my base brush. So once I'm done basing the gold and possible silver, I'll just do a bit of touch up on these models, and then I'll be doing what's called a wash or shade, which is this, which will help with sort of picking out the shadows, I think is what it's meant for. So rather than going in and manually painting all the darks onto a model. But the gold doesn't want to come off the brush, does it really? And my water is already a mess. You can see it in the back of the close up. I'm hoping you guys find my setup okay with the small model, even though it's not doing much. Yeah, so I'm still working on the music beds. I'm going to be playing it, and I'm going to be playing it so I can have you listening to the same one I am, but I might jump backwards and forwards, which might be slightly annoying, so we'll see when it comes to editing if I keep it that way, but for now I'm going to continue on with that. It won't be the usual. Let me see. Oh yeah, content. It won't be the usual bed. It'll be what I'm currently labelled the boppers, because it's supposed to be. So originally I was doing like mood-based ones, and then I sort of gave them roles. One of them's actually still got a roll, so it was going to be the relaxing. I was going to make like 4 of each, but I decided just to make one big pack music. But then it became like the crafters, because it was going to go behind my crafting videos, like this one. Bit too much on that one. Brain has already stopped working. But yeah, I ended up with things like the crafters, the fighters, and the sleuth and stuff. And then as I've been listening to music and figuring out what kind of music beds I want, the names have changed and the sound has become more solid. So originally there was a music bed which I'm not listening to currently, which was called the Sleuths one, which was supposed to be, you know, the music you would listen to if you were like watching a detective sort of film. But that kind of evolved to become comedic, so I ended up splitting it, so that there was like what I call the Survivors, although I'm still a bit iffy about using that as a name. The Survivors music bed, which is sort of the eerie, keeps you on the edge sort of music feel. And then what was the Sleuths, which became comic, and it ended up with a lot of jazz in it. It might end up with more jazz in it again, but I've decided that it's supposed to be it's supposed to be music that makes you laugh or go, what on earth is going on here? So it's now called the Fools music bed. And it is just funny music. I even picked one song purely because it starts off normal and then the 2 main instruments in it are some kazoos, which I just thought was funny. So that one kind of makes no sense. But there was one that I originally called Fighters, then became Gate Crashers, and is now called the Boppers, which is to do with high beats per minute sounds. But I realised that was very specific, and I was putting away quite a few good tunes into my not going to use these pile because they were a bit slow, even though they had quite a good beat. Hence why it's now the Bopper rather than the Gate Crasher, because I decided I want those slow tunes to be possible, as long as it's something that like gets you to nod your head or tap your feet, as well as just fast songs anyway. I can't remember if I'm doing this. So they've got like this little crystal. I'm not sure what colour I've decided to do that. I need to review the Crafters music. I'm actually reviewing the Bopper right now because there's a bit in Crafters that I think might go into Bopper instead. So a Bopper is supposed to be related to head bopping, which is when you nod your head. Not moshing, that's a completely different level, I guess, but maybe it could be counted as bopping. Probably not, though. Need to turn my camera slightly down. But yeah, so I've sort of... So at the moment, I've got... How many? Where is it? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 main music beds currently under construction with sort of distinct feels to them. And then at the moment I've got 2 event-based ones, which is Xmas and Halloween. Because I'm going through all of the YouTube library, I kind of figured I'd just pick up any music as I was going along that fits into these categories. Even if it's now out of season for both, at least for a bit of the year. But the other ones are the Crafters music bed, which is supposed to be calm, soothing music. Which should... It's not... I'm trying not to have sounds that are kind of sad or make me fall asleep, because it's supposed to be something that goes along as and keeps you awake and happy so that you can keep getting on with your work. If you get sleepy or sad, you'll generally want to stop doing whatever it is you're doing. Unless you're like me and you become hyper-focused and then completely forget to stop listening to what you're have playing. I have that tendency, which is why making the music beds is actually more tedious than I thought. Because as soon as I start doing something like this, I'm half listening to the music, I'm not actually picking it up, which means I may miss like 5 songs. Mentally, I know I'll have listened to them, but I personally can't remember the sounds of them, and then I'll have to go back to just to double check them, which means I end up re-listening to songs, and it takes so much longer, especially if I'm unsure on a song. But yeah, so you've got the crafters, which is supposed to be motivating and relaxing. You've got the boppers, which is supposed to be high-paced, or something that really gets you kind of wanting to move. That'll probably go with... So the other music beds outside of crafters are probably not likely to get used very often. They're more for games where I decide that I don't want to listen to the background music of something, but you guys might want to have something to listen to alongside my voice and the actions. You don't have to, but I think... I know a lot of games nowadays use sounds as part of it, but if I find out that something's like got a copyright because of a piece of music, I'll need to turn off the background music. I still want you guys to get something. I mean, these will all be put up anyway. They'll all be quite long. I think at the moment my longest is about 3.5 hours of music, but that's without me going through and removing and changing. So boppers is high. Then I've got something called the Knights, which is supposed to give the idea of long battles and hard tasks, long journeys and hard tasks, which itself probably will sound like an RPG, like Elden Ring. Sort of. The one problem with using music beds that aren't tailored to fit the what's going on, specifically, like, it won't be timed right for encounters and stuff, but I hope that doesn't take away from it if it does get used. But like I said, the idea's there. You could always just use them for like a D&D session or something as a mood setting item. But yeah, Knights is supposed to be long journeys, hard tasks. Then the Fools one is just anything comic. So I went for like spies and joking cartoon based ones. I might put back in some of the sleuth ones because to me sometimes spy based songs are funny. I think I'm at the front of the hammer to do. Make it gold. I'm trying to make slightly comic names for the videos, but because otherwise they wouldn't be very interesting, because it'd just be the same thing, part something. But it doesn't really matter because we're all episodic anyway, so it's just you don't necessarily need to have a title on an episode. Anyway, back to the actual conversation. So then I've also got the Survivor, which is the Survivor music bed, which is supposed to be slow songs, which kind of give you not necessarily dread, but a sort of feeling of someone sort of maybe doing something that could get them in serious trouble. Not necessarily in the bad sense, sort of like in that you're going to get caught by the bad guy if you're not careful. I just put a massive streak of gold on the back of this yellow. Can I get it off? No. Oh well. It might have been there before, given that it doesn't seem to want to come off very easily. I think I've put a bit too much paint on this side of the hammerhead and let it dry because some of the indents have disappeared ever so slightly. It's not completely gone, it's just not as good as it could be. So I just need to be a bit more careful. Right, I'm gonna say... oh no. I've got the other foot to do. This foot next to the shield. But yeah, I found that a lot of I was originally going to just start off with the spooky, intense and calm ones, but some of them just don't quite fit with my idea for the music in that bed. Some of the spooky ones have moved up to Halloween. But some songs have disappeared. So that's done. Now just do it to the next one. Right, I think I'm gonna... I think there's still plenty of paint there. I'm just gonna get a little bit of paint off my brush and get it a little bit more. Just so it doesn't become too hard from the paint drying on it. Because I'm resupplying the paint, reapplying the paint, I shouldn't have the problem with the brush going too hard, but... I just want to be cautious, because it's a new set of brushes. The only problem with cleaning my brush is the brush and the pens and sort of start arguing again. Another thing, besides the fact that I've been trying to figure out what music sound I want, is that there's a lot of music. So all of the music I'm picking is from the YouTube audio library, which if you have a channel, you can access the YouTube studio, which is basically where you upload videos. And in it, it's got an audio library, which has music that is either copyright, where you don't have to give it an attribute it, which basically means you don't have to name the artist. Or some that basically are free as long as you remember to say that this was done by this artist. And there's, I think, I always use music that doesn't require attribution, because then if I accidentally forget, I'm not in trouble. So that leaves about 4,333 songs to go through. And these have all got all different types of moods and, what are they called? I don't remember. It's mood is sort of like happy, sad, inspirational, dramatic. But then they've got something else, which is let me just quickly look at genre. So you've got cinematic, jazz and blues, dance and electro, hip hop, ambient, things like that. So that's a lot of different music to go through. I could take away the mood, but sometimes the mood's slightly wrong. I think I found a calm that to me is not calm, it's sad. I think I've got to the end of the current paint life that's on the palette. It's coming off a bit blobby. Maybe it's the palette's not wet enough. Just add a bit of water from the tub. I think it might just be there's no paint actually on the palette. Or not enough paint anyway. But yeah, there's 4,330 something. This is a big number. But so I made it so that I was searching for only stuff, because you can filter the library slightly. So I was filtering it so that it only required non-attribute licenses. And then I was also making it. Originally I was like, okay, anything over a minute, but then I realised there were songs that were going for 10 minutes long. And I decided that I didn't want that length. So I went and decided that, because for some reason it won't let you put 2 different duration based filters on, it'll only let you do one, and it has to be longer than or shorter than. There's no like and or anything, which is a slight failing. I hope I'm not speaking too fast, but I can't, to me I'm speaking fine, but then when I listen back I end up speaking so much faster, which doesn't help through my mumbling. I've also went and then forgotten what I was talking about. Yeah, so I make it so that the duration is less than 5 minutes. So you'll never have a song that listens more than that, because I can just skip over the ones that are really short, because they're usually called stings, which is about 15 seconds of a song, and is usually just the chorus bit, or the most recognisable bit of the song. And then I alphabetised it. Now I got to about 2,000. So as you go along, sometimes the search will filter itself slightly better and the number will decrease. But as I was going along, the number kept decreasing by 100 every time I was pressing on the next page, to the point where I got to 2,300 of 2,300, and it wouldn't let me go any further. But I'd only got to the M's, and I had already picked songs from like Meet and Have Fun. That wasn't, I hadn't seen that one, but I knew it existed, and I couldn't get any further. It wouldn't let me press the next arrow. So it took me a little bit to figure out what to do for that. Basically, all I've done is same parameters, but rather than having the track title in alphabetical order, I've got it in reverse alphabetical order, and now I'm sort of going backwards. I do need to put more paint on this palette. So I've managed to access the other half of the alphabet. Don't want that getting picked up actually. But it does mean I have another about 2,300 songs to go through anyway. I think I'm on 1,300 more to go. I am, every so often, every few hundred, I'm stopping and double checking everything I've just done to make sure it does sort of fit the tune. And then I have to listen to the entire group and properly listen. To make sure the whole sound is okay. It doesn't matter if there's the odd song that's wrong, because it just means you get a bit of a change. But it does mean that it's taking longer, especially if I want to listen to an entire 3.5-hour track to just make sure that all the songs match. But I am getting there. It just means I've sort of been on hold for making turning videos from recordings into actual videos, because I'm waiting for the sound to be there. I might have to go ahead shortly, because otherwise I'll run out of a supply of some of my newer or less recorded. So like this one, I have a bad tendency of leaving this till the day before to record an episode, and then I record two or three. Whee! Which really isn't probably a good practice, but it's, you know, what I do. It means I also can talk about things that are actually relevant at the time. You know, you won't find me talking about something 5 months old. Or 2 or 3. At most. The problem with this gold is it goes really funny in the water. I'll have to show you what the water looks like. You can see it. You can kind of see it there. Let's see if I can get the camera on it. So. You can kind of see it's like got a cold sort of water, but it's also sort of like a fog or something is in the water. But it's probably not picked up as well through the camera, because obviously cameras and human eyes are slightly different. But it's sort of like, it's oily, but I've been told that that's just the way metallic paints sort of are anyway, which is another reason it might be struggling to get on the models. Wow. I'm doing the same setup where I can see the screen, but I still, because I'm holding the model ahead, I still worry that I'm not actually showing at least me painting it, not necessarily where I'm painting. Overall, I hope people are still liking the content. I am honestly wanting to start putting out new content because I have a feeling I'm stagnating. But it is in part because of how I've decided I want to do things. I want to finish playing, definitely, really, before I move on to the next one. Or the next major one, because obviously I'm playing Among Us and stuff with my friends. We recently played some, I didn't record it, but we recently played some Battledwarf Galactica? Yeah, it's Galactica, I'm sure. It besides the point. And some Fallout 76, and I mean, we played it because PUBG went down because it's now free to play. But yeah, I got to make sure I stop. Last time I didn't. The dice are brilliant, but also I've got a similar problem to what I had before, which is I did a definitely recording recently, and I had my dice, and I set the 30 minutes, and then stopped it at the 30 minutes and was like, oh, okay, I'll just finish this task, and then ended up, rather than stopping at the 30 minutes, I did an hour and 45 of recording without stopping. So like the first 30 minutes are proper with the intro and the outro. Well, almost the outro, I guess. And then the rest is just me. Which is just a slight problem I've got to address personally. Right, let's get this a bit more focused. Body. And let's stop that music. Put it to the beginning because next time I start it, I'll want to be at the start of a song. But yes, so I need to remember to take a picture of these. Yes, you can find pictures of these on Instagram. There is a link in the description. Although I've been taking the pictures with my phone, and for some odd reason, if you put items from your phone, even if I put them from my phone onto my PC and then put them onto Instagram, sometimes the images are being flipped sideways. So I'm going to have to use a proper camera to take pictures, and then just hope that I frame them in a way that Instagram doesn't end up cropping too much off. Or I'll be putting the same image and just cropping different sections of it. But yeah, that was our 30 minutes to paint. I think I mentioned squigs before, and I double checked, and I think they do come in sections, but I'm not sure I'm going to make a different channel for putting together models, so when we eventually move on to them, miniature painting will also include miniature building a little bit, unless I do them off screen. But that's a bit away because we still haven't finished these models. But yeah, 30 minutes is up. I'm going to stop blabbing. I'm going to let you get on with your normal lives. So thank you for sticking through to the end of this video. And if you like what you saw and want some more, why not hit the like button, maybe subscribe, and then check out one of the videos or playlists showing up on the screen. Or why not head over to the channel for even more options. And if you have subscribed, hit the bell on this video or the channel page and get notified every time a new video goes live. But either way, it's bye for now, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!